Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. This is episode 185, and it's the January random episode, the first random episode of 2023. Whoa. First off, I just want to check in with you guys. A ver cómo andan. Happy birthday eve to Irene, que está ya entrada en copas.
Salud. I know. I'm already going to sound drunk on the show, guys. Oh, well. This is my jingly paloma.
Rico.
She sounds like that one episode when I was on drugs, which I really wasn't.
Oh, my God.
But I really wasn't.
What episode is that?
Sounded like I was.
What episode is that? I want to listen to it.
That episode was so funny because people are probably like, what is wrong with Fero? She is speaking in this weird slow motion.
So
Damn,
then
fucking whatever.
I was telling everybody.
Do you think... Do you think that was within the first 100 episods?
Oh, for sure.
I want to go back and listen to it.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. It was such a weird episode. I didn't even want to put on blast that old app, but they sucked.
Girl, throw them under the bus. I'm just kidding. No, don't.
I was about to say it. No. They might be a podcast.
You ain't down. You ain't down.
Anyway, Scott Quest is the best. It wasn't them.
Thanks, Scottcast, for being...
That look so pretty, both of you. Maybe we should record late night more often. We all look really good in this light.
I am so... I think you should just have more palomas before we record every time.
Maybe we're more drunk at 8:15.
Yeah.
But look at Ceci's huge ass smile.
Entró Luis.
Shit. Sí, entró Luis, pero I'm looking at him calladito. He's putting the girls to sleep. Before we started recording and before you jumped on, Irene, I was telling Vero que they have science projects due tomorrow, and the good parents that we are, we didn't start to do them until today.
Like an hour ago.
Yeah.
I have a story. This is the random. Can I tell you my story?
Yeah. Go for it.
So there was years ago, Isaiah was probably a second or third grader. And I knew it was science fair and it was science projects. And it was kind of bring what you want. Today's the big day. But I ignored it. He didn't bring it up and I didn't think about it. Llegamos a la escuela and he's like, wait, I don't have a science project. It's science fair day.
Shit.
And I'm like, yeah, you don't have one. You didn't want to do it. I want to do one. He's crying.
Oh,
I'm dropping him off. I feel super guilty. I get to work. And at that point, I tell my boss, I feel so bad. He wanted to do a science project. First kid. So you always feel bad with your first kid. And she's like, yeah. She's just listening. And I'm like, can I leave? And she's like, what? And I'm like, can I just go see him at lunchtime? I feel terrible. He was crying this morning. She's like, sure, go ahead. I go and I buy a bunch of Menchie's, so frozen yogurt where you can put whatever in it. And I bought a bunch of spoons and I get to school and I'm like, hey, Isaiah. And he's like, what are you doing here, Mom? All excited. And I'm like, well, this is your science fair project. This is your experiment. Let's see how many kids you can share with, how many kids want to share with you. He felt so cool. He felt so popular. I totally cleaned up the fact that we forgot, que no lo hicimos. He was the coolest kid in town because it's bringing McDonald's or In-N-Out at lunchtime. They're eating crap. So I had 10 spoons or whatever. And everybody was his friend that day. And everybody had Menchie's. And I totally saved the fact that I forgot about the science fair. So there you go, Ceci.
That's awesome. No, pues acá they send us an email oh, just heads up. It's going to be due this day. They sent it to us, I want to say last month. And I was like, that's all, Mr. Science dad over there. I'm like, that's all you, chulo. I sent him the email, whatever. And then I saw it come up again, in newsletters. They send us newsletters weekly or something. I just so many emails. Anyway. And then I sent him, oh, by the way, I'm like, it's due in 2 weeks on the 24th. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah. He put it on the calendar, toda la cosa. He's like, it's simple. They're in kindergarten. He's like, I already asked. It's fine. It's going to be simple. It doesn't have to, they're not going to present at the actual science fair because I guess the whole school's doing a science fair on Sunday or something like that. So with kinder, they're more lax. And on Saturday we celebrated the girl's birthday. I'm like, hey, their thing is tomorrow. He's like, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, which was yesterday, Sunday, we the girls got this huge dollhouse, Barbie house, whatever, and él se puso armar el dollhouse. Me, I was like helping Samantha with like this tiny little Lego pet shop, and like los dos like achy all from the back, but ahí estamos building our toys, Paula con dad y Samantha conmigo. And then at night I was like, oh my god, the freaking science projects. I'm like, they're doing
the worst.
He's like, you know what, he's like, mañana, whatever. Dude, like he didn't start until like 5 p.m. today. Primero con Paula, because Paula didn't go to school today. She was sick. Y ahí están, haciendo su science project and this and that. And then Samantha también. Samantha super distraída. Anyway, they're just finalizing right now. And it's past their bedtime, but at least it's not too late. Pero le digo a Vero, Mike, en vez de estar con el Science Project, ahí estamos nosotros bien emocionados con armando casas de muñecas.
Pues mejor con un juguetito que armando ya ciencias, no sé qué.
I know.
So what you guys end up doing for the
Science project?
Yeah, what was the project?
Okay, so the Science Project, Paula's was like 4 pennies that Luis put in like vinegar, salt, ketchup, and I forgot what the 4th one was, to see how like they changed in colors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so and then like then he's like, oh shit, it's like a whole packet, like she has to write it in her own writing, like the instructions. And I'm like, he's like, that's gonna take forever.
Oh,
so eso fue la tardanza. That was some Paula's. And then Samantha's was, what was it? Oh, it was like a water bottle, putting it in the fridge, and then putting a quarter on top of it, and then like when they took it out, like the warm hands touched it, and like the quarter popped up. It was cool. It was like fast. It was like simple, but it's like, yeah.
But it was science.
But it was science. Yeah, I was like, okay, cool.
To make you feel better, Ceci, every parent is doing it today.
I know.
Every parent is doing it today.
It's like when they, how schools, we were just talking about how schools a veces te tiran nomás, it's like a random spirit week. Like, tomorrow is little elf motherfucker day, I don't know, like it's something.
Tomorrow wear green hair, but with purple socks, but with a yellow shirt.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck was
it?
Because
the purple is actually this purple, not that purple. Girl, we were just talking about how random, like they just throw these like spirit days into the groove of the school day and the school week.
Like 2 weeks ago, Noah's teacher sent a thing about like kindness week, and like literally sad because it's like anti-suicide week. And the thing was all wrong because it said like 2022. And I'm like, is it 2023? Is it just me? So I only wrote back because it said Monday off. And I wanted the chismosa. I was like, is he off this Monday? Because he was off last Monday, So I'm like, is this right? And she's like, oh, yeah. Student council sent it. It's the wrong dates, but just follow it. I'm like, okay. But I wanted to I didn't want to write back. Like, does that mean he doesn't have school on Monday? Because I was toda confundida. Yeah. Anyway, point is, kindness week was last week. And he was off this Monday. The thing was a mess.
Oh my God.
And then he got in trouble last week for not being kind to his teacher. I was like, oh, fuck, of course he did. He was like being sarcastic.
Mire, maestra Lela, le voy a decir una cosa.
I was like, damn, you should have sent kindness week on the right week, girl, because my kid was not nice.
No, it was like, Mom, I sent the kindest way possible to my teacher that she's a Lela, okay? Like, ¿cómo no se fijó? Blame it on student council. No. Irene, you were talking about Isaiah and taking menchies. Imagínate doing that now after COVID.
At the high school?
How popular will you be, kid? Bringing those sharing spoons.
Dude, for those kids, I gotta take like In-N-Out, freaking. They like Raising Cane's chicken strips. They're a lot. I have to impress them. I gotta take new Converse. ¿Quién sabe what you gotta take the high schoolers?
Dang.
I don't know. I can't even imagine.
Mejor nada.
Great job, Ceci. Great job, Luisa. Buena suerte.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yo no hice nada. Yo nomás I'm like, yo no hice nada. I was just witness. Bravo. Yo me puse a limpiar la cocina. Yeah. I was like, I'm like, okay, let me clean the kitchen en lo que ellos están terminando. And then I also, I had the energy, guys. Because mi corrida de la mañana. I'm like, well, how did I get energy?
Good job, Ceci. Good job.
Yes, dude, it helped so much. I was like just feeling sluggish and like, depressed. And I'm just like, I'm like, me voy a correr. And I told Luis, I put Paula, I'm like, Paula, te vas a dormir. You're feeling sick. I'm like, you're going to take a nap. She didn't fight it. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I was like, una corridita. And then I hadn't actually ran on like the sand. Yeah, la playa está bien cerca from my house. So I hadn't actually ran on the sand in a while. So me voy like caminando with flip-flops. And then like I stick my flip-flops in the sand, like, kind of close to where I'm going, where I start. And then me voy corriendo hasta la orilla, and then, by the water, and it was nice. And it's sunny. Like since Saturday, it's been nice and sunny. So me fui a correr, me vine. Anyway, fast forward to like after dinner, he started, he continued with the science project. Me puse a limpiar. I made myself a sandwich for lunch. And then he usually makes the girls their lunch. But since he was doing that, I was like, I got you, boo. I made sandwiches también para las niñas. I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh, this, that. He's like, I love you. And I'm like, well, you're doing over there. Estás allá en tu science project. So yeah. Me empaqué my little lunch, hasta una ensaladita on the side. And yeah, I'm like, okay, ya es hora de mi podcast. He's like, you're going to record a podcast? I'm like, yeah, remember the power went out a couple of weeks ago. We couldn't record this one episode. And he's like, oh yeah. So
I love you, Ceci. You're like the best, because if I was feeling like I needed energy, I fucking have a box of donuts. But Ceci's like, I should go for a run.
no,
and then she's like, me hice una ensaladita. I would fucking pack like chili cheese fries. I love you. You're my hero, Ceci. You're my hero.
And Ceci was like,
you're probably
like the energy.
water.
The energy, she was like, yeah, mi corridita. I was like, oh, the whole carafe of coffee that I just had.
I know. Ceci's my hero. You're my coach, Ceci. You're my health coach. Cheers. I'm having tequila as my hydration.
Speaking of health coach, in February coming up, ya empieza el mes de que we start holding each other accountable.
Yes.
Like, hey, vamos a hacer ejercicio. What are we going to do?
Yes.
Me
What are we
encanta
doing?
verlas hacer eso.
No, Ceci, I'm ready. I need you. If you don't tell me what to do, I'm not going to do it. What are we doing, Ceci? Are we walking? Are we running? Are we doing videos? What are we doing?
We're doing a little bit of everything. I always say I'm like the Queen Warriors, but I really like those because they're so accessible. They're on demand, and it's just
like HIIT workouts?
Huh?
Like HIIT workouts?
HIIT workouts, power, so like con pesitas. And then now they also do bar, ¿cómo se llama? Bar. B-A-R-R.
I think.
That bar is good.
Yes, it's intense.
I have a story about bar.
I don't even know how to do that. I didn't even call it the right thing. ¿Cómo es? ¿Qué es?
It's like,
It's easy, pero
ballet moves.
Like ballet bar?
Like ballet moves.
como
Algo así. But I have a story about that. So Evelyn and I used to do all these different workouts. And we would use Groupon a lot back in the day. So like when Groupon was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
we tried things.
Yeah. So we would try all kind of stuff. So we ended up doing like, we would do, bar was one of them. So I'll stick to that story. So anyway, we do bar. And I remember we had been lifting. We used to go to the gym and like lift weights, and we would do some cardio, but then go to the weight room and then hit the weights with the guys, right? So we do bar, and then they tell us that to get little weights, they 1 pound each, right? And you're going to do this move where you're like kind of leaning forward. Sorry, you're hearing the squeaking in my chair. You kind of lean forward like you're like skiing, okay? Like you're going to ski and jump off a slope, right? And fly. So you kind of lean forward, and you're supposed to I'm going to get up and see. You're supposed to do this, right?
Pero está en posición.
Ajá, so estoy en posición.
Vero's like working it.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, whatever, 1 pound. Like, are you sure we shouldn't get a 3 or 5 pounder?
Pero duele, güey. Duele.
Güey, nos paramos a hacer eso, y we were just like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
I could, because you usually work out, and you typically, if you work out with your arms, like your triceps, you hardly ever really work them out. You get some in there, but not really where you focus on your triceps. So usually it's your biceps. Well, this thing, ahí nos ves, I couldn't move my arms the next day. I was like, forget it. I'm done. Bar kicked my ass. Una pinche pesita de 1 pound. I can't believe it. I felt so just torn down by this 1 pound weight in a bar class. It's tough.
Dude, first of all, way to go, Vero, for getting the group on and doing whatever it takes. I love that. And number 2, you underestimated it, but it was great. You're absolutely right. It was a good workout. Good for you. Your arms are probably begging the next day, but it was good. You worked out like a new muscle. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super good. Another good workout is kickboxing, you guys. Oh, kickboxing.
I think they have some on that application as well. I think tienen un poquito, it's so versatile, and it, si un día you're like, I'm not feeling this, let me try this other thing, and then they even have stretching, on a foam roller. También.
Oh, I love doing that.
Yeah.
I love stretching on a foam roller.
Yeah.
Everything cracks. What's the app called? We're not sponsored, and we wish we were.
We're not.
What's it called?
Queen Warriors, and it's headed by a Latina coach. Se llama Fabiana, and I can't think of her last name. Anyway,
she's
Fabiana.
Clara o
colombiana,
Ferrari o
la colombiana.
¿Es colombiana o dominicana, creo?
Oh, es dominicana. Es dominicana, I think.
Creo que sí.
You're right.
O maybe ecuadoreña, no sé, pero
Oh
bueno.
my God, we're totally off.
I
Anyway,
know,
she's
I'm
gorgeous.
sorry. She's
No,
gorgeous.
pues parece que es
and she has a
Mexicali.
great body.
I know. You know what? She's from Uruguay. We have it all wrong. How much is it?
Well, I was like, I paid I think I was grandfathered in, and I paid like $100 a year. I don't even think it's that much more nowadays, but it's so worth it. Like, it's worth it. And then she always has specials, and she always and she has a team of different instructors now. So one will do, one of it even does she's a pole dancer, and she has an amazing body.
Very
She
cool.
does pole workouts, and then has her own kind of pole studio in Florida. So, I'm like, do you have anything in San Francisco? Pero
Is that going to be our retreat?
That's another
guys?
workout.
Our fun retreat? Go to our pole.
We're pole dancing is shit.
Speaking of Groupon,
it's hard.
I tried
Yeah.
that with Groupon back in the day.
You did try that.
Yeah, it was fun. Is Groupon still
Ceci tries
around?
all the sexy stuff. Yeah, Groupon is still around, of course.
sure.
Is it?
But you pole dancing, you've done haven't you done samba dancing?
Sí, también samba was fun.
Oh my God, see the moves you taught me in Chicago for the stripper dance, right?
Yes.
Girl, I put those two. I was like, there was 3 moves, and the one of them where you're dipping up.
The hair.
Well, the first one's you bend over and you stay up, and then your hair in front of you. You're oh, okay, use that one. And then you're and then this one where you're on the floor, and then you kind of pull up. Así. I was like, I know that was too hard. But I definitely used the one with the hair, así. Ooh, girl. Mil gracias. Te debo 4
Today's
plebes.
my wedding anniversary. I'm ready. Teach me. Today's my wedding anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
I took 30 minutes for my wedding anniversary. I've been at dinner. I've been at the snow. I've been drinking at different hotels. You guys are talking about all this right now. Teach me, because my husband's going to be pole dancing is next. I gave you 30 minutes to podcast. He's literally sending me a dare. It's like a dare app where they dare you to.
Oh, do it. Do the strip pole dancing.
Be submissive to your partner for 2 rounds, and then he asks, "Can I kiss you while you're podcasting?" I say we say yes.
Yes, do
Come
it.
on in, love.
Do it.
This one from
You
stripper
ain't
dancing.
down.
And then le
You
bailas when
ain't
he's sitting on the chair, but he can't touch you.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I
Oh
like
no,
that
tie
one.
him. Oh, girl, are we really putting this on a random show right now?
This is an X-rated
the
random show. Okay, I told him he can kiss me. All right, perfect. I'm gonna have a pole that's gonna come out from the sky. All right. Anyway, anything else? Well, my husband comes in to kiss me.
Make sure that's included
No,
in your dream house,
pero sí.
girl.
But,
He said they can't know I'm kissing you. I already put it all on blast. I'm such a TMI. Oh, no. My bad. Well, I'm on camera. He doesn't realize.
You should be like, where are you
I'm
gonna
on
kiss me?
camera.
They won't know if it's below my shoulders.
I know. Unless you crawl
Way
in here.
down.
Anyway, let's go back. Let's focus up. Focus up.
So focusing on, I guess not talking about applications. You guys put me on to Instacart. Finally, I finally did it.
Yes, queen.
Thank you. Mil, thank you.
Irene.
Fucking love it.
La
We have
reina
to
de
pick our
apps.
battles, y'all. And Instacart is perfect. I'm not going to the supermarket during Thanksgiving. I give up.
Yeah,
You live
the whole birthday stuff, like a cake, todo lo compré in Instacart.
Perfecto.
And it arrived. It saved me the trip to Costco that I was dreading, and I was like, ay, qué flojera ir a Costco right now on a Friday in the middle of the afternoon.
Exacto.
Yes. So Luis is like, ¿cómo que ya lo ordenaste? I'm like, yeah, me va a llegar por Instacart. He's like, what? Yo no sabía que se podía hacer eso. I was like, yeah.
He's like, hi,
Instacart's
sexy
amazing.
Ceci.
Why are we sponsoring everybody? We need to sponsor everybody, but it is a game changer. You can get stuff in 10 minutes. Like when I'm having a party, I'm like, oh, we're out of ice. Call, Instacart right now. So I pay for the annual, and it's not expensive because the matter of things that you get in 10 minutes, like speaking of like science fairs, my kids will tell me that they need some random thing the next day at school. And I'm like, ay Dios. And I order it, and I'm like, when you leave to school in the morning, it'll be out front. And I'm not even kidding. They leave to school in the morning. They're like, thanks, Mom. I neted this baking soda for ASB or whatever the hell they needed. And it cost me like $10 from Ralph's. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty amazing. But I'm glad you did it, Ceci. That the that's like the headache and the stress of going to Costco. And like, I mean, at some point I would order things made. I'm like, Costco for the pinwheels. Like I order on Instacart. I order a lot of Northgate. So me llega
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love Northgate.
Right? For last minute company, I'm like, what am I going to feed these people? We're going to Northgate something, and they think I'm the best person in the world. But I didn't make those carnitas, honey. Northgate did.
Gracias, Northgate.
¿Sabes quién menciona mucho a la Northgate? A esta Marcela Valladolid, la chef.
Oh, I love her.
She orders a lot, or I guess she uses a lot of their products. Ahí siempre lo está. He's like, then I run a la Northgate y me compro no sé qué, y la masa allí muy fresca.
El ceviche del Northgate está delicioso. Tienen de variedad. Tienen con súper enchiloso, tienen con pulpo, tienen con aguacate mezclado ya, y tienen de pescado. It is so good. Their ceviche. I don't feel like making guacamole, guess what? I'm buying guacamole, rice, beans, ceviche si quiero. Todo. Está riquísimo.
Todo.
Wow.
I get their arroz con leche for the school functions for like multicultural night. I'm like, oh, I'm Mexican and I'm bringing arroz con leche. Northgate Gonzalez Market from Long Beach brought that. They think I made it. But las tortillas, honestly, the tortillas are still warm sometimes when you get there because they have like the tortilla on site. So you can order in a Northgate. Diego loves when I order like chicharrón. Tortillas.
Con tortillas.
Qué rico.
Yeah,
sí.
it's so easy. Comemos rápido. Like he eats a lot of chicharrón without the tortilla because of the carb
Luis,
situation.
he loves chicharrón.
I know it's like so bad for them, but so good because it doesn't have carbs.
Yeah.
Paro también.
They're so
Pinches
good.
hombres.
Yeah, these men, I know. But I don't know how to make
Cómeme a
chicharrón.
mí, qué chicharrón.
For real. Speaking of cómeme a mí, I love that new song, Bebé Dame.
Oh,
Quiero
yeah.
comerte todo el día. Or so whatever he says. I don't even know the line is, but I love that song.
Quiero comerte todo el día, creo.
I love that song.
Está padre. My sister was playing it on Saturday, and I was like, chulamente, vamos a bailar esa canción. I like it.
Today, because it's our anniversary, Diego was saying, like, what is this? Like, technically, what genre? And I'm like, I think it's like cumbia hybrid banda. Because at the beginning, he's like, cumbia, blah, blah, blah. And when you see the video, they're like playing the congo, but he's singing like banda. It's such a creative song.
Sí,
Es
¿verdad?
como banda, pero como cumbia.
Ándale.
It's different. I mean, maybe we're like old school. I don't know. I'm not a banda person. Maybe Vero, she's better. She's from like Durango,
¿De dónde
Chapo,
eres?
whatever.
¿De dónde eres?
El Chapo.
¿Eh?
Yeah, right. But I'm like, I think it's cumbia. I think it's banda. I don't know what this is, but I love it. I think it's a really good song.
Yeah, está buena.
¿Qué
Man,
we're so Mexican today.
I know. ¿Tú
Pero
sabes ese género?
qué es?
¿Qué
Vamos
género
a ver. Porque ahorita que...
I literally think it's like a cumbia banda hybrid. I swear. A ver, let's see. Pues mi Vero.
Es lo moderno que están tocando los jóvenes de hoy en día.
It's a funny video too. There was a video they had. I don't know if it's a legit video, but they're like singing it, but there's all these dudes around them. And there was like no girls in the video. And they're singing
¿Comerte
Bebe,
toda?
blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but it's called Bebe Dame or Dame Bebe.
It's probably, here we're gonna see. Fierro. Norteño, mi
so
amor.
good. It sounds like norteño, but
Es
it says
norteño.
cumbia.
Pues...
Pero cuando la tocan, Vero, es pura cumbia.
Sí. Con norteño.
It's like cumbia. Yes, it's so cool, right?
Porque
It's
los
like
norteños también tocan
genres.
tocan cumbia, tocan de todo. I love, yeah. Ahí les
This
va.
song is so good. Yes.
Of course, Diana will be
Quiero
playing
comerte
this.
todos los días.
Yeah.
I love that part of it.
Sí. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, es sonido de cumbia, definitely de cumbia, pero norteño.
De verdad que sí. That's why I like it, I feel, because I love música norteña. I love it.
Yeah. Yo también.
Yo le estaba preguntando,
We're so Mexican on
cuando
this
tengamos
Brenda.
nuestra boda,
No, we are.
vamos a querer banda, because we were at a quinceañera, we were my cousins, we finally went to a big family function, after COVID, like a lot of things got canceled, we haven't done a big wedding, or did we? I think we have. Anyway, but we finally did one on my side of the family, right? So it was my first cousin, my cousin Chame, it's his daughter who turned 15. And my cousin and I are both the same age. So like he pretty much had, this is his second daughter. So his first daughter is already 21. And so this is BB's their second daughter. She's just turned 15. But if you see the girls, like my cousin and his wife were like super like techno dancers. ¿Te acuerdas back in the day? So like super like parties. They were part of a crew and they were like techno guys, techno kids. So you saw their kids and se miraban igual, and then Bibi's like a super, like was very like boyish. It reminds me a lot of me. But it was so cute. They were super, super like into like norteño music, like norteña, and they had a big banda. And I was like, I had no idea that these girls liked this music. Because my cousin listens to it, but not as much as I thought to influence his daughters. But I think it's because his wife is más acá, like, hey, I think he's kissing the toes. But anyway, banda is legit, and they had like, as he said, they were playing norteño the whole time, and I was asking Otto, so are we gonna have banda or we're gonna have norteño at our wedding? He's like, what's the difference? And I was like, here, this is banda, like 25 people playing on the stage, you know, or we can have a grupo norteño. He's like, well, with banda como que no se pasa del tun tun tun. I was like, come on, you can hear the difference, right? But I think he's more into the norteño, so I think we'd have a grupo norteño.
Cool. Sí, se toca un grupo norteño.
Norteño is my favorite.
It'd be perfect.
Como que esa música, not that it's making a comeback, pero como que está muy moderna with like, again, with los jóvenes. También con mis sobrinos, like last summer was my niece's sweet 16, y también like yo, mis sobrinos like no hablan muy bien el español, so I didn't know que les gustaba la banda, so cuando tocaron, I forgot what song was in the summer, la boda del
Huitlacoche.
No sé qué. Sí, esa.
¿Cuál? No lo sé.
Ahí se la vamos a poner.
Esa sí es como banda. Sí, ponla,
All right.
ponla.
Well, this is like the educational random.
Yeah.
So right now there's this group and that's playing at ¿cómo se llama? Ahí te va.
Con los temas en vivo por acá con nuestros grandes amigos los Intocables del Norte y avanzamos con esto, la boda del Huitlacoche.
What? It sounds so good.
But the best part, it's still to come. Hold on.
It sounds so fun.
It's a part where it stops, and then it's like there's a moment of like right here. Aquí. Soy Huitlacoche.
I've heard it.
Ready? It gives me the chills. This banda music, girl. Ya me voy a tomar también. Vámonos.
Sí, esa canción, like todos los muchachitos entraron, well, bailaron su vals and all that, y luego el baile sorpresa, ves que los quinceañeras hacen como otro baile. Anyway, so everybody left, and then some of them, like, they changed into botas, like my niece Sophie changed into botas, and they all came back, entraron con esa canción, and they were like just dancing, and then ya invitaron a todos de que, like the audience, I guess, the guests, para que se fueran a bailar, y ya yo me paré a bailar también. But yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't know that they were into this music también,
Calidad is into this little song right now.
I want my kids to be into that.
De Grupo Firme. She likes this one right here. I'm going to play. This is the last one. Have you guys heard of La Bailadora?
I don't know, but my nephew loves Grupo Firme.
So Grupo Firme has been on a roll, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds cumbia, right? Y luego empieza. But it's so cute because it's like, ay, tengo una novia que le encanta bailar. Le hace, yo me canso rápido. Pero me dice, a mí no me gusta bailar sola, right? Si no me bailas tú, me baila el de lado. And so he's like, fuck, I gotta dance now, So it's a really cool little jam.
¿Le gusta a Gali?
Le encanta. Le hace, mami, pónmelo otra vez. Yeah.
Está padre.
Yeah, está buena.
La que está buena y que a Paula le gusta, actually, es la de Yo las pongo, whatever, de los Tucanos.
Ay,
the one, workout one, whatever, that we had said.
The workout one?
Yeah.
No. Is that good?
Remember a video we were sending each other, or I think Vero sent to us, and it was like three girls on a trampoline, and están haciendo el baile ese.
Oh, yeah.
That one. Esa canción.
Esa canción. Está buenota, esa.
Sí. Ya me dieron ganas de bailar.
Vámonos al baile.
I know. We're ready to dance.
Yeah, we are.
Let's do this.
When's the next fiesta?
I know.
A lo mejor nos echamos un bailazo.
Let's have a party.
El bailazo ahí con la Girl Free Squad que vamos a tener esa little reunion for Galentine's at Celia's. Nos damos una bailada.
Vente, sí.
No puedo, sí iría, pero no, ahorita no puedo. Aparte, that's the weekend we're picking up our puppy.
Oh, puppy coming home.
We got a puppy.
That's right. That's fun.
Our baby puppy. I had a dream with him last night. Con el perrito.
Oh, you're ready.
We're ready. I know.
You're
I've been dreaming a lot. Ya ves, hace 2 noches con el Bad Bunny, random.
Rico.
And then anoche con el perro.
¿Cómo se llama el perro?
El perro de Bad Bunny.
No, ¿cómo se llama tu perro? What's his
Mi
name?
perro se llama Porthos.
Oh, and tell us the story of Porthos. What does it mean?
The story of Porthos is that my husband named him, and he named him after one of the 3 Musketeers, and he really likes that book. And apparently, I've never read the book, but apparently, Porthos is the most loyal musketeer. So, yeah, that's our baby, our puppy.
So,
Yeah,
you know
ya
what that
mero
is?
llega.
One for all, 3, ¿cómo va? One for all and all for
One for all and all for one.
So are there 4 musketeers or are there 3? All for one,
For one.
and one for all. Is it one musketeer?
That's right, Vero.
3, ¿no? Pero son 3, ¿no? Yo sé que están 3.
Dicen, pero
Right.
se me
Well, that
hace
makes
que-
sense. All for one and one for all. They don't mean the number 4. They just mean 4. Like all for one and one
I
for
know,
all.
but
Like,
there's always like
they don't
I
mean the
think they're
number
like,
4.
is there a secret musketeer
Something
that no one
secret.
knows about?
Entendido.
Well, I know that there's like a sequel or whatever. What do they call it for books or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll ask him because he's read. I don't know if there's like a prequel to the book and then the sequel. And so maybe there is. I don't know.
Let's find out. Let's ask Professor
Speaking
Luis.
of books, any
Felicidades con tu perro.
gracias. I know, gracias. Ya nos va a llegar. Ya nos va a llegar. But speaking of books, any good books que están leyendo or that you guys are wanting to read or that we should all read and maybe get the ladies from the Guilt Free Squad to jump on the wagon?
I don't know, but I think that in our last Good Free Squad, Vero had really good recommendations. You should mention the books that you mentioned.
Oh, that's right.
I had mentioned 2 books that are pretty good at changing, like the way you think about things, the way you do things, how you approach people and situations. So they're pretty life-changing. One of them is the Abundance book, and the other one is The Greatest Salesman in the World. Kind of helps you develop new habits as well. The right way to read that book is like every little section you read for 30 days. You read it for 30 days. Because it's pequeño, el libro. Solo lees 30 días. So it's just, ooh, what is happening? So you read it for 30 days, and then you like kind of,
Quevedo.
I know. Ring Quevedo, wo con un dedo. Just kidding. So,
Sorry, you were saying.
I'm still here. Just can't get this mute to work.
no, it worked. Good thing it worked. So yeah, those books are good. They're good books. The Abundance book, I had perused it before and I'm reading it now. And I got that one because I'm reading it with a group of women through Linda Garcia. So I had read it.
She's great. She's great. Luz Warrior?
Luz Warrior.
Luz Warrior.
In Luz we trust. Oh, is that?
Salud.
You have your own
What
thing.
is
You
that?
have your own mano. It's a se llama thing.
I have a bartender
Your
serving me.
mano.
Toma. Bravo.
Bravo.
Qué rico.
So I had previously like perused the book and like, okay, I wasn't looking for thinking of abundance at the time. It was just more like, oh, it seems like a cool little book, that's a good read. So I perused it before, and then I had seen that she has this program they do like it's like a master manifester. So, which I'm giving props to them, todo eso, because I think she's amazing. So they're reading this book. So I was like, qué casualidad that they're doing this, because I have this little book and I want to kind of like think more abundantly and all that stuff. But it's a really cool little book. And then the other one is just a good book. At that one, The Greatest Salesman in the Book by Og Mandino. I always say OG because he's such a gangster. It's such a good book, but it's Og Mandino. And that one me lo dio Evelyn. And it's also just like, learning how to create new habits and new ways of approaching things. And it's a good book. I think that's a good thing to do. 2023, I think, feels different in very different ways, that we're all ready to leave 2022 and the years before then in the past, and we're finally breaking through into this new time. So I feel that this year is important to come in with a new mindset, a new kind of way of like, okay, we're going to be, interacting with people a lot more often now. It just, we're getting past certain things. So I'm like, this is a good time to reread certain books and delve into some a little deeper. So that's where I'm at with that. So those 2 books would probably be a good one to read with our squad.
Thank you, Vero. When Vero brought up those books and when she mentioned the squad, like the small one, that's a really good read, but essential. It reminded me like the first self-help book I ever read, which everyone says is like the grandfather of all self-help. And it's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And honestly, it's like a $5 book, honestly. And it would be As a Woman Thinketh, I'm sure. But it was written in a generation where it was like men, right? And As a Man Thinketh. But it's a really good book about just sort of the power of the mind and the power of law of attraction and what you think. But I think that was a book that I would recommend to anyone. Again, super cheap, super small. But again, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. And just think as a woman as well. It's just written in a time when, unfortunately, it wasn't as a person thinketh, which
it was
should have
probably
been
a woman, but you know how they had to change their names to publish as men.
Yeah.
So there we go,
very
girl.
good point. I love that. Her name is not James Allen. Her name is probably like Joni Allen or Jane Allen. But
Mesoni.
It's a really good one to think about the law of attraction. And I was just at dinner with Diego thinking about the law of attraction. We've always believed in that and like the universe conspires for you and like the film Secret. But he was telling me something interesting today about like the law of attraction isn't like thinking like, oh, if I just think it, it'll happen for me. The law of attraction is more about being what you want to be. And then I think that's so like what we do with coaching. Like it's being who you want to be and being where you want to be and being the best of you. And then the best of you happens and more happens and things happen. And we're like having this conversation at like this awesome bar in Manhattan Beach, which feels like our local bar, but we got married and we went to this bar for an after club. Were you there, Vero? And we got married and went to the Shade at Zinc.
No, I wasn't here for your wedding. I had another event happening that I was out of town.
What the hell, Vero?
So I didn't get to be there.
Anyway, Vero was invited.
Love you.
But it was in Manhattan Beach. And we were just there having this conversation. And we're like, that's the point of this. Like, the law of attraction is like being, even before you feel like you belong somewhere, like being there, like being in that place and being in the space and thinking that you can and thinking that you can have. And we coach a lot about mindset, but As a Man Thinketh is a really good book about like your mindset, what you believe is possible, what you believe is yours, and starting in the mind, but also becoming this person. If it's someone that you say, I'm a fit person, it's not about dreaming that you're fit. It's about being fit, doing your very best to every day do the things like Ceci did this morning, which is go on a run. So that's the tip of the day. Like law of attraction isn't like woo woo. It isn't like, oh, if only, and it isn't like wishing and praying that something will be different. It's learning to be different. So if you're the kind of person that wants to invest money, like invest money. Even if you start with like $10 a day and you have like an Acorn account, it's an app and it's not a lot of money, but like you're an investor, right? Yeah. People use like Robinhood, and that's how my husband started in like day trading. Like he was just using the Robinhood app like 2 years ago, and now he's like very good at like daily investing. But being what you think you can be starts in doing, even if it's little. So like says he said a run, it might be a walk for you, but how dope that she's like, oh, I live by the beach and I'm running by the beach. Like that's dope. Like Ceci, like you live by the beach, like shit. Like let's say it again. Like
I know, we know lo
right?
aprovecho,
Being así, being like the person that can afford to even, we know that's expensive, to live there and to be there and to run there and to walk there. And I have visited you and I'm like enjoying walking by the beach. That book really gets you thinking about like being what you want to be, but in the real present.
So the abundance book, Ceci, and I mean, it's along the same lines where it's like, you already have everything within you. Like God, it's not a spiritual book, but it uses references of how like from the past until we got this realization of like this war against knowledge, how it's like everything's within you. So in our coaching, we also tell people like, it's not becoming someone you want to be. It's becoming the person that is within, right? It's just developing, growing that person and getting you there. So this book pretty much says it's like, and it makes me think of a choir song in church, like en abundancia, Señor, like, like you're singing at church about abundancia. But then it says, but be humble and give your money to the church, like, anyway, but that's just, it's a
little bit of a trick.
So ¿cómo se llama este libro?
El que soy yo, el que digo yo es The Abundance Book.
I think by John Randolph Price.
It's like a $7 book. Super
Aquí me está,
inexpensive.
me está saliendo. I looked it up.
All the secrets are cheap. They're not expensive.
I know, right? Te pregunto because according to my horoscope for this year, my mantra is I am abundance. For Scorpios, I am abundance. I'm like, oh, I should check it out. Maybe the audiobook too. A lo mejor lo tienen en audio, ¿verdad?
You
Sí,
are
but
abundant.
it's like
Thank you.
those little libritos are perfect. Like I carried the Ogmadino in my purse because están chiquitos.
Okay.
Abundance book is
Los
even
sacas.
smaller, so it's like a perfect little book to just carry with you wherever you go, in your back pocket, look donde sea, and just pop it out and like leerlo de vez en cuando. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect. So I'm glad that we can read it with our girls. I'm glad I'm reading it with with the master manifestors. Props to in Luz We Trust. Like it's just good to delve into these things and like. With us, we have this community, right? We want to talk to women. We want to make sure that these women like challenge themselves to really go after what they've been wanting to. Like Irene said, like thinketh, go for it,
Forever. Manith, womanith, whatever ism you want to use.
Everybody.
We don't care what your pronouns are. Let's all be winning. Winning. We don't care what your pronouns are.
That's too funny.
Too real.
Too real. Pero bueno, ahí la tienen, chicas. A couple good books to read if you're listening to this and you're not sure, where to start. If you want to like do something different this year, también check out the Guilt Free Squad. If you hear us talking about it, you hear us talking about the books, you hear us talking about our WhatsApp group chats. You hear us talking about our monthly sessions, and you want to know more about it, reach out to us. Estamos donde quiera. We are, all over social media. We're on Facebook. Our handle with Facebook and Instagram is at Level Up Latina. We're also on Twitter at Latina_up. My husband just walked in and our floor creaks. So he's like, tippy-toeing. Me da risa.
We got you.
¿Qué más?
Jordans.
¿Qué más quería decir? Yeah. ¿Qué más quería decir? Yeah. And if you want to know more about our coaching, our individual coaching, Vero, Irene or I, shoot us an email or también book your free assessment on our website con alguna de nosotras.
Bravo.
Anything else que quieran decir?
Como
Happy
dice
birthday,
Lisette,
Eve, otra
mengache con
vez.
tu mengache. Menganche.
I forgot about that saying. No lo había
My
escuchado.
funny son was telling me about how he has his phone on Spanish. So my son, whatever, he's just like, I love him. He's the golden child. But he has his whole phone on Spanish, so everything happens in
That's
Spanish.
cool.
His emails, what he sends, his apps that he downloads. So he's always learning like new words. And he's like, Mom, it's so funny. Like some of the stuff that translates in Spanish. He's like, look at my Spotify like songs. And on Spotify, it just says your liked songs, or it says likes. His says, tus me gustas. And we were cracking up. Tus me gustas. We just kept saying that to ourselves. So it reminded me of what Vero just said. Super random. Nothing to do with anything.
It's random shows. That's perfect.
It is.
Yeah, it's random, right? So now I'm going to tell you guys like, tus me gustas.
Tu me
Tus me
gustas.
gustas.
Tu me
So
gustas.
that's just, anyway, if your phone is in Spanish, you know what he's talking about. But I think that's super cute that my 16-and-a-half-year-old has his phone completely in
That's
Spanish.
cool.
He's always like, Mom, what does this mean? He was looking at thrift stores in Big Bear because we were just in Big Bear this weekend, and he cracks me up. And he's like, Mom, is segunda mano like thrift stores? I'm like, yeah, Papa, segunda mano. He just cracks me up that everything he looks up is in Spanish. But tus me gustas.
Me gustas.
All right? So that's what
That's
you're going to like us on
funny.
Facebook and Instagram porque tus me gustas.
Tu me gustas. Make sure.
And leave us a review.
Yeah, leave us a review wherever you listen to the podcast. And if you have a topic in mind that you're like, hey, you want us to discuss or, shoot us an email, ya saben cómo encontrarnos. And with that, that's a wrap. Thank you, ladies, for joining today. Al menos de que quieran decir o mencionar alguna otra cosa.
This is perfect. We love you. We love you. This is a fun, super
Love
random.
you. Yeah, super
We played
random.
music. We did all of it.
Yeah,
We played
hablamos hasta de
music,
comida como
hablamos
siempre.
Ay, tengo hambre.
De todo un
Hablamos de
poco.
comida.
Yeah,
I had the most delicious chocolate lava cake like an hour ago.
por tu cumple.
Shout out to the sink at Shade in Manhattan Beach that treated us like royalty. It was delicious.
Perfect.
Let's get un chingo.
Igual.
Great job, Ceci, with science fair, with birthday parties this weekend.
you.
Ceci, well done. Great job,
También.
Vero, keeping it together with all those babies at your house. So proud of you.
De milagro, they didn't knock down the door.
Vemos. Happy,
No, you
happy,
did great.
happy
Kiddo.
birthday, Eve.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
Eve, Aquarius.
I can't wait. I'm gonna go to the spa. I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna go to dinner. I'm gonna do it all tomorrow.
Hoy es,
I'm gonna
hoy es
turn
sábado,
42
aprovecha.
years old.
Hoy es su sábado, aprovecha.
Beto, you're how old? You're the baby, right?
41.
Baby.
And Ceci, you're gonna turn. Well, you just turned 41.
I just turned 41, so yeah. Todavía me falta
All right.
todo el año.
To my babies in the house, los quiero mucho.
Thank you.
All right.
Love you all.
Besos.
Bye,
Love you.
besos.
Bye.
Oh, besos.